Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Copeman's and Renfrew House Chapel presentation. In light of some of the events happening within our community recently, the two of us, and hopefully all of you, have been forced to take a step back and reflect. During these past few weeks, Jake and I have come away with very similar takes on these ideas and have carefully selected our theme, unity.
Our opening hymn will be the Renfrew House hymn, Joyful, Joyful. Hymn number 9, please stand.
Thank you. Please be seated. I would now like to invite Jaden Bowmans forward for the first reading.
A reading from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres.
Good morning, school, staff, headmaster, and those watching online. My name is Jacob Lillywhite, and I am the head of Coleman's House this year. Despite being a bit nervous, it gives me great pleasure to share with you a few ideas this morning on the topic of unity. As you know, there has been considerable discussion and healthy debate this term on the subject of male, female, and other aspects of equality at Shawnigan. I have enjoyed being a part of the process, and I have learned a lot from listening and the insights and ideas of others. It has been an eye-opening experience, to say the least, and one that has given me tremendous food for thought. At Shawnigan, the idea of tradition is at times provided as a reason attitudes and practices are the way they are. I discovered a few weeks ago, through the process Kayla Parkhouse began, that the possibility of improving the experience of the entire student body was something worth investigating and pursuing. I am told there has already been some genuine progress in this respect, and I am grateful that be so. At the time, it came as a shock for me to hear that some members of our community, mainly girls, truth be told, have felt underappreciated at times, some even disrespected. If this is true, I am not happy to hear it, and I want to signal it as loudly as I possibly can. As many of you know, my mom and sister are very important people in my life. Being a part of this school, I would expect nothing less than the best for them, as we all have mothers and many of us sisters. I would be stunned if my feelings weren't broadly shared. When I spoke with my mom and sister about the topic of unity, I was delighted to hear that they feel well respected, and I sure hope that every girl here feels the same way. When Maggie and I sat down together some weeks ago to share our thoughts on today's topic, the notion of unity and what it might mean for the community emerged very naturally. We believe now, as we did then, that a genuine unity is incredibly important for the staff and students alike. And to achieve unity, everyone must respect and appreciate diversity. Respect and appreciate the diversity that the school has to offer. My intentions are to share how we can address the challenges at our school by encouraging greater unity on campus in the process. It is easy to become obsessed with the details of our lives, creating a bubble around ourselves and forgetting how truly fortunate we are. There is a big world outside the campus gate, and though it might not seem at times like we do not have a great life, we do in fact have them. To have an even more united campus, however, I believe that we need to develop more genuine respect for each other and the school and look at the bigger picture. When I reflect over the course of my 5 years at Shawnigan, it is very heartening to remember all the amazing times I have had. Just now do I realize how limited my thinking has been at times, complaining at small issues in life and not realizing the good I have had. I wonder if you share this particular view with me. Please take a moment to reflect on this now. Do we not receive an amazing education at Shawnigan? Do we not have the opportunity to learn, make friendships, play games at high standard, or just for fun? Do we not live in houses with brothers and sisters, perhaps not of blood, but of bond? These are valuable things. We all have incredible opportunities at the school to take what we are passionate about and grow into the young men and women that we can become. This is not universally true in the world, I'm sad to say. Yes, life is unfair at times, and nobody gets everything they want. We need to accept the fact that there are times and situations that we do not like and get on with life, an amazing life that kids from unstable countries could only dream about. Recognize this, and you can become a better person who takes a hold of every chance they get in life. Right now, I'll be the first to admit that sometimes I get sad, moan, and even complain because I forget that life is not fair. We all came to Shawnigan to create a better lives for ourselves. Respect that we all have goals in life to achieve, then let us share one more goal in common. Show appreciation and support each other no matter what our goals may be. This will help everyone feel appreciated, a way for everyone to unite, and help us all work towards the future we want to create for ourselves. Thank you. Our gradual hymn will be Copeman's second house hymn, Zion's King Shall Reign Victorious. Hymn number 21. Please stand.
Be
Thank you. Please be seated. Sorry, actually, please remain standing for the gospel. I would now like to invite up Josh, the lector.
A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, "Let me take the speck out of your eye," when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. The Gospel of Christ.
Thank you, Josh. After careful consideration, please be seated. After careful consideration, we have selected the theme of unity. This stemmed from the original topic of equality, but we decided to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. In order to truly reach a state of equality in all aspects, we must be unified. If we are not united and choose to stand opposing each other instead, no progress will be made. This seems a fitting topic, especially as Shawnigan is celebrating 30 years of coeducation this year. The first girl, Renata Grass, stepdaughter of our Mrs. Grass, came to the school in 1986 under special circumstances after a family tragedy. The first female class followed soon after and arrived on September 6, 1988, 35 girls strong, including a familiar face, our Mrs. Hidley. This was big, as Shawnigan had been an all-boys school for the past 72 years. One of the pioneers to this idea of coeducation at Shawnigan was another DHL, Derek Hidley. He had the support of the headmaster at the time, Daryl Farrant, who once said, "Girls should have the opportunity to receive a top-class Shawnigan education in facilities unrivaled anywhere in the world." However, a few important people were still not on board. Ironically, one of these people was Peter Banks, who was a board chair at the time. And just to be clear, we are in no way related. After much convincing, he agreed, and the board came back with 97% of the votes in favor of coeducation at Shawnigan. The first girls of Shawnigan thrived, and it only continued to go up from there. Shawnigan has made massive leaps and bounds this year, having nearly equal populations of male to female students. However, despite this progress, as a community there is still some way to go. In 2018, with movements such as the Me Too movement and He for She, most people have come to recognize that the time has come to take the steps required to create equality for all. Now, when I talk about equality, I'm not just talking about girls and boys. I'm talking about equality for all, no matter your ethnic background, your beliefs, your age, or your gender. It's not about choosing sides, but rather about growing a community in which everyone feels included and equally respected. In a place where there are sides to be stood on, there will be division, which in turn will create weakness. A community that has sides being taken is a community that lacks this unity. And without unity, we tend to fail. The conversation at Shawnigan needs to change. It must become less about choosing or defending a side and more about building unity and coming together. Conversations of late, although emotional at times and difficult to face, have served to clarify that as long as people continue to pick a side, the community will not be unified and healthy changes will not come. Now, although tradition can bring comfort to some, it can hold us in the past and prevent us from entering a new day. Tradition can make us lose sight of who we truly are and who we want to become. Therefore, a place like Shawnigan, that prides itself on tradition, has a harder time moving into the future and leaving some of these traditions behind. It is said that an institution is only as good as its ability to produce well-rounded students who are critical thinkers, who are courageous enough to make the changes necessary to enter into the world as truly educated beings, while in keeping with values relevant in the world we live in today. Someone once said that diversity is the art of thinking independently together. At Shawnigan, we celebrate diversity because each different part contributes to this masterpiece we call home. Our diversity should serve to unify us, not divide us. Really think about this. Do our personal biases keep us closed-minded? Do our traditions hold us back? To come together as one or divide and separate, the choice is ours. Let's build our community by changing the conversation and having more compassion and respect towards each other. Thank you. I would now like to invite Kylie, Sedonia, and Alan forward for our musical presentation. They will be performing Found Tonight. It is a mashup of the songs The Story of Tonight from the very popular musical Hamilton and You Will Be Found from the musical Dear Evan Hansen. The mashup was created in support of the March for Our Lives.
We may not yet have reached our glory, but I will gladly join the fight. And when our children tell their story, they'll tell the story of tonight. They'll tell the story of tonight. Tonight.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear?
Well, let that lonely feeling wash away, 'cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, and you can reach out your hand. And
Glass to feed on, something they can never take away. No matter what they tell you,
someone will come running to take you
there's a
home.
glass to all of us,
Tomorrow there'll be more of us.
telling the story of tonight.
Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. All is
It's
new.
only a matter of
Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found.
when our children tell their story.
You will be found.
Tell the story of no matter what they tell you.
Tomorrow there'll be more of us.
Telling the story
Of tonight. The story of tonight.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Farah, Sage, Enrique, Jamie, Catherine, Jack, and Paul forward to lead us in the prayers.
we take a moment to think about those in need in our families and in the world. Please respond to the bidding, Lord, in your mercy, with hear our prayer.
We pray for those who are isolated and lonely, and those who feel as though they don't belong, and that we may find the strength within ourselves to make everyone in this community feel included and connected. Lord, in your mercy.
We pray for those who are discriminated against because of their race or background, for equal rights and opportunities, for all people, and for our open, non-judgmental hearts for ourselves. Lord, in your mercy.
We pray for those living in war-torn areas of the world. We pray for the people of Yemen and the people of Syria, especially the children. Lord, in your mercy.
We pray for those who have been driven from their homes by war and violence, and who now wander the earth without a home or a community. Lord, in your mercy.
We pray for unity in this community, that we might continue to focus on the things that hold us together and bond us. Lord, in your mercy.
We take a brief moment to consider all the blessings in our lives. Lord, in your mercy.
This concludes the Renfrew and Coleman's House presentation. We hope you enjoyed and that we have provoked some thought and given you some food for thought and time to reflect.
Our closing hymn will be the Copeman's House hymn, Lift High the Cross, hymn number 2. Please stand.
Thank you, Rev. Today is the 13th of December, and it's St. Lucy's Day, and it's a festival about bringing light to darkness, and I think that's rather fitting given that presentation. Thank you, Renfrew and Copeman's, for picking a theme on unity. And what I particularly like about the sort of house presentations in chapel is you stand side by side, a perfect example of true integration at Shawnigan. Jacob and Maggie, hugely courageous and compelling addressers, tackling the challenges of Shawnigan talking about inclusion and diversity, asking us to face some uncomfortable truths and reflect on those. I have to say, I'm extremely proud to have students like you in this school. I'm also proud to be a member of this community, and I think this morning's service reminds me of that, makes me realise that I definitely made the right decision to join Shawnigan. And you kept coming back with your words to those themes at the beginning of term about conversation, compassion, and community. Thank you. And thanks to all the others, the singers, the readers, the delivery of prayers, absolutely wonderful, and you've lifted our spirits at this point in term, bringing light against the darkness. And for the rest of the day, we've got a lot to look forward to. I thought it was ugly sweaters, but they're more like sort of exciting, colourful Christmas sweaters today. And who knows what I've got in store for me at the Inter-House, whatever it's called, Inter-House Air Band this evening. I'm assured I have to come in fancy dress. I'm not quite sure I trust the MacLeods on this, but I will be there. But thanks very much. A really wonderful, wonderful service. Have a wonderful day.